What's up, YouTube? It's Debt Free Joel coming to you live from the office. I've been getting a lot of questions and a lot of comments recently about living paycheck to paycheck and how folks are really unprepared to pay their student loans back. And I think it's time for us to have some real talk. I'm not going to take your time too long. Now, what people tell me is that, well, they're not able to pay their bills appropriately the way they would like to because they're living paycheck to paycheck because they bought a house. Nothing wrong with that. Or because they bought a car. Nothing wrong with that. Or because they decided to have children. They were under a certain timeline. Nothing wrong with that. You know what is wrong with it, though? You didn't plan for it. You didn't make the necessary paperwork and go through the necessary numbers to see how you can actually afford these things that you bought. And now, folks are in a difficult position where it pertains to actually living paycheck to paycheck. Did you know that 60% of Americans right now are living paycheck to paycheck? And it's worse, specifically worse, because in minority environments, right? So think about Black, Hispanic, those type of folks. Think about women. It's actually much worse for them. Now, the two main reasons why folks are living paycheck to paycheck is number one is because they're helping family members, and number two is because they're spending money on unnecessary things, not necessarily the needs, the wants. So this video, I want to give you at least 3 things you can do to stop living paycheck to paycheck. Number one, I'll put a lot of money on it right now, that you don't have a budget. Most people, statistics show that most people who live paycheck to paycheck don't have a budget. And I mean a real budget. Everything from in terms of your income and all your expenses. All the major bills, think about your rent and everything like that, all the way down to your Amazon subscriptions, your Netflix subscriptions, the 2 gym memberships you don't go to, everything. Get on a budget and figure out where your money is going. At the end of the day, you really need to list everything. And you need to be honest with yourself about your budget. From my experience, most people who actually get on a budget and actually create one, this is the scariest thing they can do. Imagine holding up a mirror to yourself and seeing who you are, those deeper secrets that you have. That's what a budget is. It's holding up your financial secrets to your face and having you stare at every bad decision you made up to that point. The high credit card debt, the high bills, all the nonsense that you're paying for. In my experience, most people don't have an income problem. There was only one person that ever came to me that made too little. Most people spend too much. So the first thing you need to do is get on a budget. The second thing that you need to do, make sure you cut back on your expenses. This is where you need to set out and figure out what are the needs versus the wants. You're living paycheck to paycheck, so there's no excuses for this. You shouldn't be necessarily gallivanting outside or living your best life just because it's a YOLO environment. You live paycheck to paycheck. You have kids. You have responsibilities. That means it's your job to make sure you stop living paycheck to paycheck. You need to look at your budget and see what you can cut. This is going to be painful, but you need to do that if you're looking to not live paycheck to paycheck. The point of this is that you sacrifice now to be able to live comfortably later. Most people, there was a statistic showing that most people, when they decide to get out of debt, it takes them 18 to 24 months. That's just 2 small years. Now, you can do that much faster, but that's just the average for most people. Go back and start cutting back on your expenses. Figure out what debt you can get rid of. Most of the time, it's going to be credit cards. It's going to be your student loans. Figure out ways to pay them off. You can get a side hustle. You can sell the stuff that you have in your house that you don't need, that you don't use, that you just look at every day. All your kids' toys that you haven't touched in God knows how many years, you can put that and sell it on the internet, whatever you need to do to generate income, to start building down or paying down your debt and building up your savings. Most people live paycheck to paycheck because they're not on a budget. They don't cut their expenses. They have no savings. You don't want that to be you. That's why you clicked on this video. You want to be someone who has a savings. So step number 2, go through your expenses, figure out what's the needs, and cut the wants. Do what you need to do. Take control of your life until you feel that you're comfortable to be able to survive. Right? Because living paycheck to paycheck with one salary job is not enough, because they can lay you off like this and all hell can break loose. And if you think the government's going to help you, I got nothing coming for you. And the third thing, you got to learn the power of no. My cousin in college taught me something that has stuck with me for my whole life. He said his favorite word in the English language is no. And then really to this day, 20-something years later, it still has an effect on me. You see, you need to learn to say no to everyone who's not going to be in your life that's helping you budget. When they try to tell you to go out, you tell them no. And you tell them flat out no. You tell yourself no when you want to go do something that blows up your budget because you're trying to get out of debt and you're trying to get back your money and you're trying to make sure that you're living, not paycheck to paycheck, that you have an emergency savings, that you're contributing to your 401k. You tell yourself no. You tell your family members no. You tell your friends no. You don't care who you piss off. You're the one that's going to be in charge of your money. You think these people are going to come out here and help you and work for you? No. It is your job to tell people no who get in the way of you getting your money right. So you have to learn the power of no. Because if you say no now, you're saying yes to yourself later. You're saying yes to the high 401k balance. You're saying yes to the high savings account. You're saying yes to the fact that you have a nice car that you paid off in cash. You're saying yes to the fact that you own your house, that the bank doesn't own your house. That's what you're saying yes to when you say no now. You got to let these people know to get the hell out your way when you're trying to get your money right. So learn to say no. Don't allow the peer pressure of society to stop you from doing what you need to do. I'm sorry, I know this is more like a tougher thing to say to people, but it's your responsibility to get out. It's your responsibility to get out of debt, to make sure that your money is appropriate. It's not the government's job, it's not your family's job, it's not your parents' job, it's nobody's job but yours. And we can make a bunch of excuses, especially as minorities, as to why we're in this situation. But at the end of the day, there ain't nobody coming to help you. Nobody. So that's how you stop living paycheck to paycheck. Number one, get on a budget. Number two, cut your expenses. Sell whatever you need to sell. Generate some cash and start working on your debt. And number three, make sure you tell these people no. When people come up to you that's going to break up your budget and they say, hey, let's go splurge here, or hey, let's go on vacation here, or hey, let's go buy this, or hey, let's go do that, you tell them no. You tell them no. You tell them no with all the love that you have in your heart. Because no matter how much you love them, you must love yourself enough to know that the way that you're living paycheck to paycheck isn't right. If you like these type of videos, cool. My name is Debt Free Joel. Click the like and subscribe button. Feel free to follow me on Instagram. It's the same name as YouTube, @DebtFreeJoel. We put a ton of information on there about saving, investing, and most importantly about being charitable. So, until next time, you got food at home.